Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins and today is Watercolor Wednesday. So as you can see, the peony season has officially begun and I'm really excited to share my peonies with you. I'm sorry you can't smell them because the fragrance is delightful, but I have a lot of different varieties of peonies growing in the gardens here at Dandelion Cottage, and among my favorites are these great big beautiful Festiva Maximas, and these are the ones that many of you may remember from your grandmother's gardens. They are an extremely old variety and they do very well in this zone, which is a kind of a 4, 5, 6-ish zone for those of you who are gardeners. And they have beautiful foliage. They're a good sized plant and they are pest free. They're also extremely long lived. So if you are able to find the Festiva Maxima cultivar and plant it, you'll probably have those plants in your gardens for decades and decades to come. So I went out and I collected some of these great big beautiful blossoms that were fully opened because they were starting to bend down the stems, and I wanted the secondary buds to have a chance to open up. So I cut these very short, and then I have this one here that is still in its sort of roundish bud shape, and then just beginning to open its petals on one side. And of course here you see the beautiful dark green foliage. So that's my specimen. But today I thought I would do something a little bit different. I'm going to be painting in inks today. So I have my water-based inks. I've got yellow, red, and blue. And I have my water painter and a piece of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. I've got some ink, and I've got the stamp set called Poised Peony. So I thought what I would do would be to do a quick demonstration using this stamp and maybe this sentiment that says hello, which is very cute. And I'm just going to share with you how I would go about painting a stamped image in a watercolor technique. So I know a lot of you have many of these items already on hand, but if you are interested in the supply list, I will be posting that immediately following the video. And I'll also put the link below so that you can go right there and have all the items. So no need to make any notes. All right, so let me check my connection. Had a little bit of trouble coming on today, but I think it's good now, and that looks fine. So I can see that. All right, and so for this image, this is a 5 by 7-inch piece of 140-pound watercolor paper. I'm not going to need all of that, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. I'm going to get out my trimmer, and I'm just going to cut this at 3.5, and I think that'll be just fine. Actually, I'm going to make it 3 3/4. Is that what I want to do? Yeah, 3 3/4. Oops, I didn't do that. There we go. All right, and then we have a new color added to our collection of the coordinating colors that match the designer series papers and the embellishments and the markers and all the things. And this one is called Basic Beige. I've got my stamp already mounted on my clear block, and I'm just going to sort of angle this a little bit towards the top of the paper. And that's going to give me a lovely light image that I can use to paint in. Now, the water painters have a water reservoir in the handle, which make them wonderful to travel with. But just for ease of painting today, I also have some water cups off to the side. So I'm going to begin with just plain water, and I'm going to moisten the ink that I just stamped with. I just want to check to see if it's going to run at all. And it is just a little, but not very much, which is great. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a kind of a neutral mixture. So to get my neutral mixture, I'm taking my red and my blue and a drop of yellow, a little more blue. And that's going to give me a kind of a soft, neutral gray tone. And I'm going to use that to just begin shading my flower here. And I'm looking at my beautiful bouquet that's right in front of me as I paint for inspiration. So if you're somebody that has some peonies growing in your garden, or if you're going to be heading out to your farmer's market and you can get a beautiful peony specimen, that's all the better. And if you're someone who would like to continue practicing, you can always go to your craft shop and pick up some artificial flowers and set them up on your table, and you'll be able to practice doing your botanical studies all year long. Alright, so there's my peony started. I'm going to zoom you in just a minute. I just want to get these leaves started. So for that, I'm taking my yellow with a little bit of blue, and I'm just going to go very lightly, adding a little medium green tone. There we go. Actually, I missed that leaf, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn that into a vignette. Soften that. So a vignette is just a picture that has a very soft edge, and I can easily do that by adding more water to my ink and give that a little tonal background, which is very nice. I can add a little bit up here. Just like that. There we go. Just let that blend together. Keeping those edges nice and soft so they just kind of fade off into into the surrounding, excuse me, into the surrounding paper. All right, so I'm going to zoom you in so you can see that a little more closely. So this is my initial, what I would call the initial wash. And I can control the amount of light or darkness of my colors, which is also called gradations, by simply adjusting the amount of water that I'm adding to my mixture on the palette. Now I'm going to add a little more of the ink. These water-based inks are the same inks that are used to moisten or re-wet our stamp pads. So they come in a little bottle like this. They're extremely reasonable. They're very inexpensive to use. And I'm just, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm only using 3 colors, okay? So red, yellow, and blue. That's all you need to get started. Of course, you can add more as you go along, but if you're just beginning, that's plenty to get you going, and you'll have beautiful results with them. Okay, so now I've got some light tones and some dark tones. I've got some beautiful soft edges on my vignette. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my flower, and I'll show you this in just a second, but the Festiva Maxima is known for these wonderful, excuse me, little crimson specks on the, just here and there on the tips of its petal, and it's just so charming. Let me see if I can get those in the camera so that you can see that. See how they are? They're just here and there, just some little flecks of color. They're just wonderful. So I wanted to capture some of that. And I'm going to go back into my leaves. I'm going to add a little more yellow. Just a touch, hardly anything there. And then I'm going to get back into my green mixture, and this time I'm going to make it even stronger. So again, more yellow, more blue, a little more blue this time to make it darker. I see some people out there. Good morning, everybody. Actually, I should say good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Does anybody have this Poised Peony stamp set yet? It's a beauty. It's a great stamp set to use for your watercolor painting technique, and it's very pretty. And it's also a stamp set that you can use year-round. It has In My Thoughts, Hello, and Best Birthday Wishes. So it's a great one to have for should the occasion arise. And then you could do a beautiful little hand-painted watercolor card for your friend for their birthday, which would be just lovely, and I'm sure they'd appreciate that. All right, so that's coming along. I'm just going to add a couple more touches to my peony. I'm going back to that neutral tone. Just give that a little more depth, a little more volume. So easy, so quick and easy to do. It takes just a little bit of practice initially, because I know that learning how to control the amount of water takes some practice. But if you just put that time in, you will find that once you're able to become familiar with your tools and how to use them, that it just makes doing these things so quick and easy. It really does. And it's not, there's no magic to it. There's no magical formula or special talent. What it takes is knowledge and practice. And what you see me applying here is my knowledge of recreating or depicting three-dimensional forms using the language of the artist. And that's something that I provide for you in the Watercolor Card Club. So if you think that you'd like to learn more about fine art and the basics of how to get started painting, including the values, the texture, the creation of form in space, then please come join me. You can find out more on my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com. Look for the Watercolor Card Club, and you will learn how to paint a new subject every month. And you can use either watercolors or your water-based inks. You could use watercolor pencils as well. The concepts are all the same regardless of what your medium of choice is. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to add my stamped message, and for that I think I'm going to go with, let me see, do I want Old Olive? Hold on just a minute, I'm going to grab my Mossy Meadow. I think I'm going to go with Mossy Meadow. Okay, and I'm just going to put that right down here in the corner. Here's my message. And then I'm going to grab a card base. Let's see, what do we have here? I'm looking to see what I'm going to go with the very vanilla. Now, if you'd like, you could add a beautiful colored mat around the edge, or you could just keep it simple as is, which makes for a very elegant greeting card, and I think I kind of like that. Just the way that is, just a simple little painting and a simple little message, just to keep the focus on the artwork. So I'm going to go ahead, put a thin bead of my liquid glue around the edge. Pop that onto my card base. And this card base measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I think, I don't know if you can see the texture of the watercolor paper is so pretty. It adds that extra little element of texture to the card, and I love that. Now, I didn't use a lot of water, so it's fairly dry, so I'm going to go ahead and flip that over and give it a good burnish with my bone folder. Just like so. And there's my card. So stay tuned for more peony projects coming right up, because the flowers will continue to bloom for another few weeks. I want to get my flowers out here so that you can see them and the wonderful leaves. So there it is. And the leaf. Okay, so you can do it. And if you'd like some further instruction on how to get started with painting watercolor effects with your water-based inks, don't forget to check out the Watercolor Card Club at Dandelion Cottage Design. Please subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage, because then I will be able to let you know about all of the classes I have coming right up. And you can do that by clicking the sign up button in the banner that will take you to the Notes subscription. And if you're watching on YouTube, then just go into the description box and you'll find the link there. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you give it a try. And I hope to see you in class. Stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.